Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Verna Bharath. This is TTT News. It's time for the headlines. Energy Minister says no sale of PARIA fuel trading company. Employees of the judiciary threaten to stay off the job. Forum highlights need for legislation to moderate social media use. And in sport, Russell off to coach Barbados national football team. Minister of Energy and Energy Industries Franklin Can says the divestment of PARIA Fuel Trading Company is not within the current mandate given by the government to Trinidad Petroleum Holdings Limited. This in response to reports that allege the government's intention to sell the company. In a media statement, Minister Can notes that PARIA Fuel Trading Company Limited is a strategic state asset that plays a very important role in ensuring the security of supply of liquid petroleum fuels for the transportation sector of Trinidad and Tobago and for the general public. He says the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries will continue to maintain oversight of the restructuring of Petrotrin and its transformation. The Trinidad Petroleum Holdings Limited has been directed to withdraw and retract any advertisement or request for proposals that may have been inadvertently issued for the sale of the PARIA Fuel Trading Company Limited. It's a holiday for justice. This from PSA President Watson Duke as he confirmed that employees of the judiciary did not report for work today. This protest, he said, stems from the decision to start the restructuring process, which could see a large fraction of employees being dismissed. Mr. Duke said these decisions were made without consultation with the PSA, a major stakeholder.
To come to a place where they recognize that once you threaten a man's life, that man will do any single thing to stay alive. We in the PSA see it as a direct threat against the 800 employees who are working there. For the majority of them, they are saying, we're firing you by September the 1st because you have no permanence.
The PSA president said today is an important day in the history of the judiciary as employees have taken a stand against injustice. He claimed that all the courts across the country have been affected.
In a place like Couva, we have the court has grind to a halt, complete halt. In a place like Port of Spain, magistracy and the High Court, what we have taking place there is all matters are rescheduled. They are forcing judges to operate the computer and take their own notes. In San Fernando, same thing. Matters in the criminal court are being rescheduled. The JSOs have stood up, saying enough is enough.
He said they are prepared to continue the strike action until the powers that be agree to a meeting. Mr. Duke was speaking at a press conference held at the PSA office earlier today. The union representing the managers at National Flour Mills, the Steelworkers Union, has been assured by the company there will be no more retrenchments. This assurance comes days after the general manager was retrenched. According to NFM, this is part of plans to restructure the state-owned company for better efficiency, production, and quality. The Steelworkers Union told TTT News they were assured by the company that the retrenched manager was not replaced, but the CEO will absorb the responsibilities. NFM promised the union, along with the Seamen and Waterfront Workers Union, which represents the general workers, that they will be kept informed at every step of the restructuring process. A further assurance was given that the workforce will not be affected as they look at new products to diversify NFM. The Ministry of Education says it has ensured an intense and thorough sanitation exercise at the 5th Company Baptiste Primary School after a student died at the San Fernando General Hospital with a suspected case of meningitis. The ministry says, following the report on Friday afternoon, the school's principal took immediate action to dismiss classes and implemented all necessary safety protocols. A team of medical personnel from the Princestown District Health Facility visited the 5th Company Baptiste Primary School on Monday and met with the staff and advised about the sanitization process to be undertaken. The medical team will return to the school tomorrow, Tuesday, to conduct a screening exercise for students. The cause of death of the Infant 1 student will only be determined after the autopsy. There's a pressing need for new legislation to be passed to moderate social media use. This was the general consensus at a forum hosted by the British Council on Monday entitled Law Enforcement and Social Media, Opportunities and Challenges. But as panelists aired out the topic, they had several concerns about how that regulation is to be done. Janine Brown reports.
Within the last decade, the use of social media has skyrocketed and is now considered in many spaces to be the main means of communication. Police Commissioner Gary Griffith said while social media has benefited law enforcement in many ways, such as helping them to quickly disseminate information to the public, it also adds new challenges.
Terrorism, for example, has become a conduit towards recruiting individuals to join terrorist groups internationally. Then we can also look at gang-related activity.
Another challenge outlined by the panel of speakers at Monday's event is the proliferation of misinformation online. Chairman of the Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago Senior Counsel Gilbert Peterson said he believes the imposition of firmer penalties can be an efficient tool to fight back.
And have a rigid supervisory regime so that persons who abuse it or use it for evil could be brought to justice and kept in mind.
Independent Senator Paul Richards agreed, but added government must be careful not to resort to restricting public access.
It can easily veer into this sphere of censorship. I think management, monitoring, and putting systems in place to manage is better than limiting access, because then we go into some sort of draconian jurisdictions.
Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi said the government's main concern is merely to manage the effects of social media.
There is at least a proportionate right. Those rights must not shut down public expression. They ought not to shut down the engines that cause this to work, but there must be some form of meaningful redress.
Janine Brown, TTT News.
Trinidad and Tobago Television will premiere the award-winning local drama Green Days by the River on Easter Sunday. This morning, TTT's CEO Lisa Wickham ratified the contract for TTT to officially premiere the local film.
And truly, I'm really excited because I have in my hands the agreement for the official television premiere of Green Days by the River on TTT this Easter Sunday, already signed by you. And I'm going to do the honors now and sign it and make it official. Yeah? Are you excited about that?
I'm excited.
There you go. A big signature there. And today's
based on the novel by local writer and historian Michael Anthony, Green Days by the River's coming-of-age story is set in Mayaro, 1952, and centers around a teenager named Shelley, who is befriended by a plantation owner named Mr. Gadari and falls for his beautiful daughter Rosalie. The film was produced by Christian James and directed by Michael Mulida. The film premiered successfully in the Caribbean in 2017 and has been making its way around the globe.
We were looking for a little bit of, we were in the European film market now officially, but trying to see if we could pick up some more distribution for Green Days by the River.
As the local film industry continues to grow, director Michael Mulida said that Green Days by the River provided a platform for the development. He impressed on young filmmakers that now is a great time to tell your story.
They are so lucky, like they have technology on their side, they have so much platforms. Like I think the world has really changed a lot. And you can make a movie from YouTube to Facebook. Like that whole sense of like what traditional cinema is has changed. There's short form. They could be filming on the iPhones. Like they have so much opportunity.
Green Days by the River will premiere on TTT on April 21st.
Listen to me, good Eshel, and you ain't stupid.
Karen Kozier-Phillip, TTT News.
And remember, you can also keep up to date with the latest stories on Facebook and Twitter at TTT Live Online. Coming up next, Latipi off to Barbados. We'll tell you why when we come back.
First Citizens, take
Take a loan right now. For your car, house, for a vacation. For your own land, or for education. First Citizens, easy does it.
A First Citizens Easy Does It loan makes it easy for you to do it all. A new vehicle, your own home, a vacation, education. Visit firstcitizenstt.com to find out more. Apply today.
Take a loan right now. First Citizens, easy does it. First Citizens, easy does it.
First Citizens, we put you first.
An official announcement is expected any day now, but indications are that former national captain Russell Latapy has accepted the job as national coach of the Barbados senior football team. The little magician, as he is affectionately called, has been frustrated by the local football association as he took charge of the national under-20 squad recently. Latapy complained openly about a lack of support in a timely fashion by way of camps or appropriate warm-up matches ahead of their tournament in Miami recently. But his biggest gripe was the non-payment of salaries for months at a time, a situation which saw him take the association to court and won. Previously, he also complained that the TTFA failed to comply with the agreed payment plan stipulated by the courts, which frustrated his efforts to effectively do his job the second time around and forced him to down tools in protest. Now he is off to Barbados, where a formal announcement by the president of the Barbados Football Association, Randy Harris, is expected on Wednesday. It isn't the warm welcome the players envisioned, but they touched down in England on Monday morning after travelling overnight ahead of their friendly with Wales. The home-based players arrived at Manchester Airport to wet and chilly conditions. Unlike the near 90-degree weather they were subjected to the last 3 weeks by head coach Dennis Lawrence and his staff. They were met by a couple of the overseas-based stars who joined the team ahead of their first full training session shortly after arrival. They immediately drove about 35 minutes to the DoubleTree Hotel as they count down the hours to Wednesday's friendly with Wales. The Welsh outfit is ranked 19th in the world compared to TNT's 93rd ranking, which gives the home team a huge disparity and the favourites tag heading into this one. The Welsh are using the match as preparation for the European Championship qualifiers, while the TNT outfit is preparing for the upcoming Gold Cup in the United States. Mervyn Dillon gives the TNT Red Force a B grade after they ended their West Indies Championship campaign on a high with a big 85-run victory over Jamaica at the Brian Lara Academy on Sunday. RUSKIN Mark says the coach wants greater consistency from his troops and believes the current group has all the tools to do better.
The Red Force set Jamaica 338 to win, and their bowlers did the job despite 133 from Brandon King. TNT duly wrapped up the innings just after the tea break, with Imran Khan ending with 3 for 48 and the Jamaican import Odin Smith adding 3 for 56 in support. Anderson Phillips added 2 for 54 to go along with his maiden 5-4 in the first innings as Jamaica got shut out for 252, handing TNT victory by 85 runs.
Really happy with the victory. Jamaica had been playing some really good cricket at the back end of the season, so we knew it wasn't going to be an easy game. They made us work for it, and I'm really happy with the outcome.
As for him personally, Dillon has a good feeling about the job he's done and the players taking to his methods.
It's been interesting for me. Like I said, it's new. I definitely didn't want to come in and kind of impose myself. It's been kind of a learning curve with the guys, and I get to understand each other. The respect that I got from the guys really helped in terms of how I manage the team. So I look forward to the tournaments coming up. But I totally enjoyed it. I mean, most of the guys I know because I played with them, later on in my career and that kind of thing. So it made it really enjoyable, and the guys seem to enjoy having me around, so I'm really happy about that.
One of the finds of the season was pacer Anderson Phillips, a youth team graduate who really stepped up with 25 wickets in his first full season at the top.
Actually, my goal was to reach 25, knowing that this was the first lengthy season I had in first class. My goal was actually 25 wickets. I was possible to even get a bonus on that.
Largely through his efforts and that of the other bowlers, TNT managed to move up the rankings after being in last place for most of the season. Ruskin Mark, TTT Sports.
Police Youth Club's bid to win the All Sectors Netball League took a huge hit on Saturday when they lost to Defence Force at the Tacarigua Indoor Facility. PYFC are second to Fire in the standings, and a win would have kept them in the hunt for the title. Ian Wason has more.
Police Youth Club had already lost a national shooter, Julissa Cooper, during the season for professional commitments, but relied on the other national shooter, Tahira Hollingsworth, who scored 17 goals with an impressive 80% shooting. Here the score was 15-16 PYC trailing. Fabrice Fisher scored 20 goals here to make it 30-33. PYC still playing catch-up. Although he scored 20 goals, it was less than 50% shooting, pretty low, and that was a weak point for PYC. The Defence Force got 39 goals from Kerry Macmillan, who single-handedly beat PYC. Defence Force won this one 41-37. With that result, Fire can win the league on Tuesday when they play Police. Now PYC will be hoping Police can pull off an upset if they would have any hope of winning the league in their final match with Fire next Saturday.
Defence Force was more clinical. You know, we came out and we were aggressive at the start, but we made too many errors, and Defence Force capitalized on it. And even when they made errors as well, you know, but they were able to still stay disciplined and clinical, and I think that was the difference.
In the earlier Premiership game on Saturday, it was heartbreak for Las Lomas, who thought they won the game against Unit Trust. But a foul just before the shot gave Aquila Blue 1 over 15 goals on the evening to tie the game. UTC rescuing a point and heartbreak for Las Lomas, who reached the final of the Fast Five last week.
Again, it comes down to managing the game. We went up by 2 and simply come back and draw a game 39 or something like that. So not the best play the game, but at least we didn't lose.
Ian Wason, TTT Sports.
More to come. Stay with us.
Introducing the biggest, bestest deal around. KFC's Big Deal. 2 delicious pieces of chicken, 1 regular side, and a large drink for only $29. Now that's value for money. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Who says informative can't be fun? Smile now every morning with Lisa, Rishi, and Carrie as they keep you in the know with what's trending on social media and bring you updates from the worlds of current affairs, sport, technology, and much more. Start your day right and be in the know with what's happening now. Now, shaping tomorrow today. Mondays to Fridays at 6 a.m. on TTT, Talk City 91.1 FM, and streaming live on Facebook at TTT Live Online.
Few partly cloudy spells accompanied by the brisk light to moderate shower. Tomorrow, sunny, hazy and at times breezy day conditions are expected to give way to relatively cool and generally clear night. There is the chance of a few partly cloudy periods accompanied by a few light to moderate early morning and late afternoon showers. Seas are moderate, waves are up to 2 meters in open waters. They are near calm in sheltered areas.
The weather was brought to you in part by the Water and Sewage Authority. Water, use what you need.
The Autism Parents Association of Trinidad and Tobago is rubbishing claims that all is being done to assist children with special needs in Trinidad and Tobago. The association has taken issue with what it describes as outrageous statements made by the Education Minister as it relates to the availability of special education services. One parent outlined her experience with an autistic son going through the education system to DIONNE.
Autism is not a behavioral disorder. It's characterized by perceptual and thinking differences. This from Tracy Hutchinson Wallace, whose son was diagnosed just after his 4th birthday. She says he was tested when administrators at the school he attended noted he had difficulty socializing with his peers.
When they said that, I said, okay, let's get him tested. Can't hurt, don't know what's happening. And when he came back positive, I was like, oh, okay. I'm really glad that they caught it early, because we would have gone along probably not realizing anything until he started to struggle in primary school.
Initially, the plan was to have him go through the public school system. But Tracy says she and her husband realized almost immediately that probably wasn't going to happen.
My husband realized that he's drifting, he's zoning out, he's not interested in school. This from a child who literally falls asleep every night reading a book and was so thrilled and excited about going to school. At the end of the first term, the school said, well, he's going to have to repeat first year. I'm like, how do you repeat infant 1? Who repeats infant 1? Are you going to change the way you're doing stuff if he repeats? Well, no, this is the way we do things.
This, she says, was the breaking point.
Every parent thinks their child is the most wondrous, marvelous being on the planet. When the rest of the planet says your child is other, it does affect you as a person, because you want the rest of the world to see your child for the marvelous being that they are.
Tracy says her son was then enrolled at a school which caters to the specific needs of children who need extra support. He continues to thrive in that environment. But as SCA Prep continues, Tracy says she can't help but worry about what's going to happen at the secondary level.
All other parents worry about school books and uniforms, at most, maybe transportation as well. But kids who need special supports and accommodations, their parents have so many more expenses that need to be dealt with. And that cuts severely into the family's ability to have a decent quality of life.
She says many people fail to realize that parents are forced to send their children to private institutions simply because provisions aren't made for them at public schools.
Don't get tied up with the word private. It's private because public doesn't give it at all. We're paying taxes like everyone else. The Ministry of Education prides itself on saying, education for all, but they are simply not providing education for all, and they have literally abdicated their responsibility to children with special needs and special developmental challenges.
Tracy suggests that the Ministry of Education identify at least 6 schools in each district where they station occupational therapists, speech therapists, psychologists and psychiatrists who can provide the necessary support to these students. DIONNE Baptiste, TTT News.
Here are the details of the day's market activity on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange.
Trading on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange produced a volume of 306,902 shares with a traded value of $6,299,870.46. Trinidad Cement Limited was the volume leader with 111,529 stock units changing hands. Investors bought and sold the stocks of 13 companies, with 5 increasing, 2 declining, and 6 ending the day unchanged. The composite and the all TNT indices declined, while the cross-listed index advanced.
More to come. Stay with us.
Reach further when you advertise with TTT. Suite 100, Next 99.1, and at Talk City 91.1 FM. Whether it's television, radio, or social media, our stations belong to the only broadcast network with 100% coverage across Trinidad and Tobago. That's a fact. From Port of Spain to Point Fortin, Crown Point to Charlottesville, every household in TNT can easily access our signal. TTT remains the only broadcaster with live capability from multiple locations in the country, making us the most dependable source of information for events of national importance. Find us on any smart device at TTT Live Online. Are you ready to reach further with your advertising? Contact our sales team now. Call us at 622-4141 at extensions 2601 to 2607 or email us at sales@ttt.co.tt.
Animal activist Joel D'Souza is threatening to take the government to court over antiquated laws that do not protect the welfare of domesticated animals. D'Souza said promises were made after several meetings in 2018 with Minister of Local Government Kazim Hussein, but it's all come to naught.
We've decided that as of now, we are going to file a claim against the government of Trinidad and Tobago on a legitimate expectation case. We are tired. We've used all our resources. We've had an over amount of animal dumping within the last year, and we just cannot go forward with this way.
D'Souza said no one wants to take their government to court, but the Summaries of Offences Act of 1921 needs to be revised. The animal activist said the legislation will take a simple majority to become law, just as it did to increase the speed limit on the highway.
1921, 100 years ago, and 100 years ago, that document makes mention of oxen, horse, bison, bull, that sort of thing, never of a domestic animal. We became a republic in 1962.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, ANNISETTE-GEORGE, has urged this country's younger generation to safeguard their mental health. Addressing a Commonwealth Day program held at the Parliament earlier today, Mrs. ANNISETTE-GEORGE told the students of 11 secondary schools gathered that they have the power to make a difference.
Be ever mindful that it is in the discharge of your responsibility to safeguard yourself, mind and spirit shall rest your only defense from being lured into an unjust, inhumane and tyrannical cause.
That's a wrap on this evening's TTT News. As we leave you, our cameraman Rodney David got images of some of the Trinidad Hilton's special guests today, living up to the proverb. They strutted proud as a peacock. We're told there were at least 3 of these gorgeous birds along the Hilton's corridors. It was a sight to see. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Verna Bharath. Have a good night.